All right, guys, welcome back. Your Mark and Tom, TCG&Whiskey here. We got a beautiful fight card, but first let's say thank you to our sponsor, Tampa Bless. Home Team Do Good, TampaBless.com for more information on that. We'll get right into it. We got UFC 266, and we go start out with the Featherweight Championship. Alexander Volkanovski, 22-1. He's 32 years old. He's a minus 170 favorite. He hasn't lost since 2013.
Wow.
But he had a super close decision in his last fight against Holloway. That must be mentioned because a lot of us, anybody watched it? I'm one of them. Holloway, I feel, should have won, but that's neither here nor there. He's going up against Brian Ortega, 15-1, one no contest, ranked number 2, 30 years old, plus 150 dog. He last beat the Korean Zombie, and before that, he lost to Max Holloway. What a shocker. Tom, how do you see this one going down?
All right, well, the Australian Alexander Volkanovski on one side, the American Brian Ortega on the other. Volkanovski's 5'5" in height, Ortega's 5'7" in height. Alexander still does hold, although 2 inches shorter, he holds a 2.5-inch reach advantage. Volkanovski, brown belt in BJJ. It's also worth noting he's part of that city kickboxing team. Very nasty little team there. It's kind of like the elite of the Australian, New Zealand connect over there.
Adesanya on that team.
Oh, yeah. Boxing and Muay Thai background as well for Volkanovski. He's very well-rounded. He's coming off that split decision win over Max Holloway in July 2020, so he hasn't fought in over a year. So it's been a little bit of a break for him. The other side, you got Ortega. Oh, let me cover for Volk. He's 22-1. UFC, he's undefeated. He's 9-0. He's never lost in the UFC. The other side, Brian Ortega. He's 15-1 with 1 no contest. UFC, he's 7-1 with 1 no contest. Now, that 1 no contest, he did win, but he popped for a steroid. All right, so that was made a no contest. He's a first-degree black belt in BJJ, and he's coming off a unanimous decision win over the Korean Zombie in October 2020, so almost a year for him as well.
Right.
Zombie, that fight, I thought Ortega looked great because Zombie came out since then and showed how good he is, and he just nullified the Zombie. I don't know if the Zombie had an off night or what, but he made the Zombie look
It looked that way. I remember
terrible.
That fight. Yeah, it was... Ortega had boxing skills that he never had before in that fight. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. Ortega has definitely leveled up. My pick here, and that has to be taken into account. I feel like Ortega is progressing. The way that he really took it to Zombie, who's no joke, was impressive.
Right.
I'm going to go here. I'm still going to go with Volk, though, by decision. I don't see him finishing Ortega. And I think Ortega is a tough finish. It's not that he's never been finished, but he's a tough finish. He's a tough guy. He'll take a beating before he goes down, similar to Holloway. But I'm going to go with Volk here by decision.
All right. I got the same thing, honestly. I think the fight probably goes a distance. I think most of the fight stays on the feet. I think, though, the big advantage is Volkanovski has the power advantage, and I believe he has the chin advantage. And for those reasons, I totally agree. I think Volkanovski by decision. And now, as far as the card game goes, Alexander Rookie's only printed 2019 Topps Knockout, super affordable. I feel the one problem is with his card not being printed in Chrome or Museum is people may use the Prism as his rookie card. So if you guys have his Prism, I feel that may be just as good as his 2019 moving forward. I think he's a buy, though. If he can stay the champ a little longer and not retire too early, because he could just retire. The guy is known. He was a rugby player and everything else. He could just be on to the next thing, say, I dominated this, and leave. So if he doesn't go too early, I got Volkanovski as a buy. People like Ortega. I think he's as talented as they come. I just don't think he has that factor that makes him pop, win or lose in this fight. I have a hold on him until I see this one go down. But let's move it on. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you like what we're doing. It takes a lot of time. And if you take a look at last week's, we got pretty much everything right except Gravely, and Gravely should have finished that fight. He ran out of time in the first round, but neither here nor there.
Well, I got the one wrong. I picked decision by Clark.
Oh yeah,
but I picked Nate. I picked Nate Manis though, so I got Gravely right, but I got the Clark wrong.
Yeah, so like and subscribe. Don't forget, guys. But let's move it on to. Honestly, I'm not going to spend too much time on this fight just because, my God, Valentina Shevchenko, 21-3. She's 33 years old, minus 1,500 betting favorite.
Whoa, I didn't see that.
She's undefeated at flyweight in the UFC. And Lauren Murphy is 15-4. She's 38 years old. She's plus 850 dog. She is on a 5-fight win streak with 2 of those, though, being split decisions. And personally, I feel she got lucky on at least one of those. I did not like that decision versus her, Andrea Lee. I thought Andrea Lee dominated that fight. That was that weird card that everybody was complaining about that night with the judges. But so technically, she's on a 5-fight win streak. Tom, how do you see Valentina beating her? Because I know you're not taking Murphy as the upset.
All right, so you got the champ, Valentina Shevchenko, the former Soviet, now Kyrgyzstani. She's 21-3. Overall, UFC 10-2. She's 5'4" in height. The American Lauren Murphy on the other side, 15-4 overall. UFC 7-4. She's 5'4" in height. So even in height, and there wasn't a discrepancy worth mentioning on reach. Valentina Shevchenko, I'm going to go through some of her skills. She's like the Korean Zombie, but I think maybe even an extra one added on as far as just skill set, like a video game character. She's at the highest level. She's a second Dan black belt in Master of Sports in Taekwondo, International Master of Sports in Muay Thai, Master of Sports in Boxing, Master of Sports in Kickboxing, and a black belt in Master of Sports in Judo. I mean, it doesn't get more mixed than Valentina Shevchenko. She's coming off a TKO by elbows round 2 win over Jessica Andrade, April 2021. She pretty much dominated her. She was working on her ground game. She could have probably finished it earlier. The other side, Lauren Murphy, brown belt in BJJ. She's coming off the split decision win over Joanne Calderwood, June 2021. So just a few months ago. One thing worth noting about Lauren is she's never been finished. That may change. My pick, I'm going to go with round 3, sub or via strikes, the bullet for the win. But I could see a decision as well if Murphy just wants to take some punishment and just keep doing enough work not to get the ref to step in and just get a dominant loss in a decision.
All right, so you got Valentina winning. Big surprise, 3rd round. Possibly decision. But I'm not going to waste much time on this one. The whole thing is you can bet Valentina, but with that line, there's really no money in it for you. I got 0 shot for Murphy winning this one. It's fighting, though. Valentina can beat herself, fall in our ankle or something like that, so I'll probably just have to stay away from it. Now, as far as the cards go, Valentina's rookie card, 2017, Chrome and Museum, rare. Those boxes are very hard to find. She's 100% a buy. She improves every time, which is crazy because she's already one of the best in the entire UFC. Murphy, age 38. She's probably going to age out way before Valentina, so I got to sell on her. Now, we'll move it on to some old-timers.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is one of the first guys I really grew up watching, actually. It's true, because I remember watching him all the time at your house when you used to live up this way. So we're going to get right into it. Welterweight fight. We got Nick Diaz, 26-10 with no contest. He's 38 years old. He's plus 100, so basically even. Last fight was 2015 versus Anderson Silva. He's fighting Robbie Lawler, 28-14 and 1 no contest. 39 years old, minus 120 favorite. And to mention, he's on a 4-fight losing streak, but basically to all great guys and 1 controversial loss. Tom, do we see Nick Diaz of old? Hey, you're one of the biggest Nick Diaz fans for the longest time. What do you see going on here?
Yeah, and I like Robbie Lawler as well. Respect to Robbie as well. Always been tough. This has been 17 years in the making. That's crazy right there. 17 years.
17-year rematch.
That's nuts. Nick Diaz, the American on one side, 6'1" in height. Robbie Lawler, the American on the other, 5'9" in height. Nick holds a 2-inch reach advantage. I've got Nick listed as overall 26-9 with 2 no contest. UFC 7-6 with 1 no contest. The thing is, you gotta, when you look at Nick's record, there's some gaps in there because he goes over to Strikeforce and these other promotions in between his return to the UFC. So he had some UFC fights, then he left, then he had some more UFC fights. So overall in the UFC, though, 7-6 with the 1 no contest. Third degree black belt in BJJ, boxing background as well. He's coming off that no contest to Anderson Silva about 6.5 years ago, in which Silva originally won by decision, and then he actually popped for steroids, and Nick also popped for weed. UFC, that was UFC 183. So we're on 266. Last time he fought was UFC 183, and that was in 2015, January. So about 6.5 years ago. On the other side, Robbie Lawler, 28. I got him listed at 28-15 with 1 no contest. UFC, he's 9-6. He lost the 4 in a row, as you mentioned, and he's coming off a unanimous decision loss to Neil Magny, in which I thought he looked terrible. And that was in August 2020. That was a little over a year ago. Robbie has fought pretty much all tough fights in the UFC, though. If you look at all his fights, he does not fight any cans. They're all tough guys. So you have to give it up to Robbie. He's such a vet in that respect as well. Nick fights a lot of tough guys as well. But if you look at Robbie's UFC matchups, all tough guys. This is a 5-round fight too, as well. Just like Nate had. Nate had the first one ever, and now Nick's having the second one ever. That isn't a title fight, 5-rounder. Who am I going to go with here? I really don't see either one of these guys. Robbie's only been knocked out twice, a straight knockout. One of them was by Nick in his career. I don't see him as being in any way punch drunk. It's possible Nick could get a sub. It's possible Robbie could knock out Nick. But where do I see it? I see Nick by decision after 5 rounds. 5 grueling rounds. And these guys could look a mess, man. This could be a Rory McDonald mess.
Honestly, yeah. This is a tough one. We haven't seen Diaz in so long. That being said, the Diaz brothers bring it. They're always in shape. I don't believe for 1 minute Nick took off from training that entire extended time. I guarantee that dude was in the gym. He trains for triathlons and everything. We all know that. I think almost exactly what you're saying. I think he drags Robbie to the deep waters and gets his hands raised in this triumphant comeback. They want him to win. He's a Diaz brother. He brings so much attention to the game. He's so good for the game. Now, both guys, they're buys for the PC. They're legends. If you want them in your personal collection, you got to have them. I don't think they will perform too amazing long term. I could be wrong on that. Nick was printed in 2012, and Lawler predates Topps, if you can believe that one. He was printed, he was printed in 08 and some junk brand, and he was printed again in 2009 by Upper Deck, and then in 2011 by Topps. That's how long those dudes have been around and fighting. As you
got to remember, Robbie Lawler was with Matt Hughes' team back in the day. That was out of Iowa under Pat Miletich. He was part of the Miletich team that Matt Hughes was on, and Robbie Lawler was on that early too, man. That was a very early team. Very strong team too. I mean, they broke up over time, and they kind of morphed into other things and left. And obviously, time's gone on. But that was a very strong early team.
So both guys are buys for the PC. I just don't know how they'll be long term. But we both like Nick Diaz to make a triumphant comeback. Just crazy. But let's move it right along. We got to know, this is a banger right here. We got a heavyweight bout. We got Curtis Blaydes, ranked number 4. He's 14-3, 1 no contest. He's 30 years old, minus 335 favorite. I think that line's a little skewed. His last fight was a loss to Derek Lewis. He's going up against Jairzinho Rozenstruk, ranked number 6, 12-2, 33 years old, plus 260. His last was a win over Augusto Sakai.
Mm-hmm.
Tom, does Derek Lewis have his way and get him to the ground, or does Rozenstruk do it? He's done very well.
Well,
And knock guys out.
Blaydes, not
Right.
Derek Lewis. Curtis Blaydes.
Blaydes. Does Curtis?
Yeah, I got Curtis Blaydes on the one side, the American. 6'3", which I was kind of surprised seeing that again, that he's 6'3". I forgot how big these guys are.
He is a monster, Curtis Blaydes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got the Surinamese Jairzinho Rozenstruk on the other side, who's 6'2" in height. Curtis Blaydes does hold a 2-inch reach advantage. Curtis Blaydes 14-3 overall with 1 no contest. UFC 9-3 with 1 no contest. Blaydes won that no contest originally, but popped for weed. On the other side, Rozenstruk 12-2 overall. UFC 6-2. Blaydes blue belt in BJJ. He's also got the NJC AA wrestling, as we all know. He loves to take it to the ground. He's coming off that brutal KO punch loss to Derek Lewis, February 2021. Jairzinho Rozenstruk basically did almost the same thing to Sakai that Lewis did to Blaydes. He's coming off that TKO punches win over Augusto Sakai, which was
he barely
pretty out of nowhere.
Touched him too.
Just grazed him, and he went cold. And that was in June 2021, so that wasn't long ago. Now, always keep in mind that Rozenstruk's got that strong kickboxing background. So his ideal is to have good takedown defense here and utilize his strengths. Where do I see this? If that KO that was extremely scary that Blaydes took from Derek Lewis in this past February has not made him punch drunk, then I'm thinking Blaydes wins by TKO GMP round or a decision. A little punch drunk because that was a brutal knockout. He could end up catching a clip, and I could see a repeat of the Lewis fight where Rozenstruk wins by that. But where am I going to put my pick? I'm going to put it with Blaydes. I'm just hedging it a little bit because I could also see that happening. But I'm going to pick Blaydes, TKO GMP round 3, or possibly a decision, maybe a little bit of a boring fight if he has his way. But he could catch a similar one if the guy times it right and catches a clip on him. And he's a little punch drunk, he might go by.
Right. Okay. But you got Blaydes. That's the final pick.
Yeah, I got Blaydes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see Curtis. Basically, you went over Pergler. I see he's got a lot of advantage here. Should be able to get his hand raised. But that being said, I think the Black Beast showed you how to beat him. As you said, you got to just time his takedowns. He shoots his heads up high. You can get him. And I feel Jair has the same power and the same blueprint now that that Derek Lewis has. I just don't like how Jairzinho is very hesitant to swing a lot of times. As you said, he can kind of make it a boring fight. I'm taking him round 1 knockout, though. I think guys are sleeping on how good Rozenstruk is. He's got 2 losses, as you said, but one's to Francis, and Curtis Blaydes has lost to Francis also. And I forget Rozenstruk's second loss. Was it? He might have lost to. Did he lose to Lewis also? He's got one other.
Well, he had a shady win against Overeem, though. I don't think he deserved that.
No, but I agree with you. But he did sleep Overeem. He knocked off half his face, literally, with that punch. But the whole point is that
he wasn't out, though.
The whole point is, though, he is. That's why I think he's just hesitant sometimes. I think he could have done that almost any time in the fight. He did have a problem.
He lost to Gane. Gane pretty much.
Yeah, he had a problem, though. He had a problem with Overeem's wrestling, and Blaydes can do that to him, too. But I think we saw what happens. You got a knee. You know he's coming in for a takedown. You got to knee him or give him that uppercut. You got to show him what you're working with. And you can't sit back and wait to counterpunch the whole fight. Just not going to work. You got to go out there and get this guy, and I think he can do it. Now, I don't have a buy on either one of these guys just yet. I think the main reason I don't have a buy on either one of them, I like both of them, and I think both could potentially be champs. The heavyweight division is tied up right now. That's the main reason. I don't know when we're going to see it get untied, when is Francis going to come out of, he says he wants to be an active fighter, and then they have to put an interim belt on the line. And then you got Gane, who I think is unbelievable, like you said. Then you got, does John Jones make a return next year, and they wait out for Jones to get the money fight? There's a lot of things, and I feel the heavyweight's tied up at the moment.
Let's not forget about Stipe.
But that's part of my reasoning. It's just too tied up. There's a 4-guy mix at the top, and these two aren't in it. And it could be a while till that clears out. Now, Curtis rookie card is 2018 Chrome. It's dirt cheap. He just doesn't have that fan support at the moment. He's not a Black Beast style where guys just love him. Jair, I feel like he's in the same spot, but his rookie card's even newer, 2020. You could buy it for pennies. I feel like you're going to be able to get that for pennies for a while, unless he does something spectacular. And like I said, it's tied up. So we'll move it right on. We got another great fight. This is one of my favorite fighters right now. We got a bantamweight fight. We got Marlon Moraes, ranked 6, 27-7-1. He's 33 years old. He's plus 210. He's lost 3 of his last 4, but he lost to Font, Sandhagen, and Cejudo. So no shame in any of those guys. He's going up against my guy right here, Merab Dashvili, ranked 11, 13-4. He's 30 years old. He's minus 260 favorite. He's on a 6-fight winning streak, last beating Cody Stamen. Tom, what do you see happening here? We already kind of know where I'm leaning, but.
Yeah. All right, so you got Marlon Moraes, the Brazilian on one side, the Georgian Merab Dvalishvili on the other. Marlon, overall 23-8-1. UFC, he's 5-4. Merab, 13-4 overall. UFC, he's 6-2. Marlon, worth noting, last fought in December 2020, and he lost 2 in a row, as you mentioned. The other side, Merab, he's won 6 in a row, all by decision, and he lost his first 2 fights in the UFC, but since then, he won 6 in a row. My pick, I'm thinking it's likely a decision win for Merab, but I wouldn't be stunned if a head kick or a knee finish by Moraes occurs. He catches him with a nice knee or a head kick and finishes it. That would not stun me. But who am I going to pick? I'm going to pick Merab by decision. But I would not be stunned seeing that other scenario as well.
Rare. I'm agreeing with you. I see this as Merab just smothering Moraes all 3 rounds and getting the nod. Marlon has had some serious power, and he could get the knockout, as you said. But Merab's stand-up is greatly improved since those couple losses, like you said. He's one of those guys who really understands his strength, though, and he doesn't wane from it. Merab gets his hand raised here. I don't think you'll even see him sweating there. This is a sprinkle one right here. Merab, he's just going to do his thing. The guy is, they don't call him the machine for no reason. And Moraes might have his spirit broken. He lost 3 of his last 4, and his one win was actually Aldo, and a lot of people actually had Aldo winning that one. I'm just saying. I thought it was Moraes.
Yeah, it was a good fight.
A lot of people, even Dana, giving Aldo the championship treatment with that one. So a lot of people had him winning. So I don't know how Moraes is going to be mentally up there after a couple of those, especially that Sandhagen knockout. My goodness. Now, as far as their card goes, I have a buy on Merab. I think he has the work ethic to keep moving up the ranking. He's new to Prism. Still easy to get. You got to go out there, and you got to have a little speculation on Merab. The guy's too good not to. And now Moraes just seems not to step up when he fights those couple top guys. And for that reason, I see him as a hold. I want to see a couple more fights from him before I really can change my mind. He'd have to go out here and smother Merab, which I don't think he does, and beat somebody else before I can change my mind. Now, we're going to give you guys a few of the quick picks here. We got Jessica Andrade, 21-9, ranked number 1, minus 265 favorite. She's going up against Cynthia Calvillo, ranked 5, 9-1-1, plus 215. Tom, Jessica, Cynthia, Who you like?
All right, Jessica Andrade on one side, 21. She's the Brazilian, 21-9 overall, UFC 12-7. The American Cynthia Calvillo on the other, 9-2-1 overall, UFC 6-2-1. Worth noting, Cynthia has never been finished. My pick, though, this will be her first time being finished by Andrade by punches, round 1 or 2.
Okay, yeah, this is another one for me where I think we take the dog. I sprinkle a little money on the dog. I think Calvillo's at the right weight class up here. She never made weight when she was down lower. It just wasn't her. I think we haven't seen her in a long time. I think she's going to come in full. I think she's going to come in with some muscles on her. And I think she's going to wrestle Andrade, which is not Andrade's strength. We've seen that before. Andrade has the power to take any girl out, but she does not like being tied up and clenched and worked, and she tires out. Not to mention she's too busy doing her OnlyFans now anyway, so she's in another world making her money now. She doesn't care if she wins or loses.
I disagree with that. I think that she definitely cares. But one thing worth noting about Andrade, because she's been around for so long, and as far as women's fighting goes in the UFC, she's only 29.
Right. No, she's young. Like I said, I know she has the power to put any girl to sleep, but I'm taking Calvillo. Wrestling, clinch. All right, then we got Dan Hooker, who's ranked number 8. He's 20-10, minus 145 favorite. He's going up against Nasrat Haqparast, who's 13-3, plus 125. Tom, does the newcomer take down Hooker? Or does the New Zealand
All right, so you got
Kiwi take it down?
Dan Hooker, the Kiwi on one side, 20-10 overall, UFC 10-6. The German Nasrat Haqparast on the other side, 13-3, UFC 5-2. Haqparast only 26 years old, Hooker 31. Dan's 6 feet in height, 6 even. Nasrat 5'8". Dan holds a 3-inch reach advantage. Dan's coming off 2 losses in a row. One thing's worth noting about Dan is just his schedule coming into the States and all that he's had to go through. He's going to be arriving a very short amount of time, making weight, and then fighting. I don't even think he's here yet. So this is definitely worth noting on who's going to win this fight. The other side, I read just yesterday that Nasrat was having visa issues and that he might not be able to come in. I don't know what ended up happening with that if he's in, how that worked out. Another thing worth noting for Nasrat is his mother just passed away. Mm-hmm. This could be devastating psychologically. It definitely is. It depends on if he's able to blank it out or use it as a motivation. Either way, it's very emotional, and both these guys have those things on the line there. So it's definitely worth noting. It's almost like having a little bit of inside knowledge on a quarterback or something that might affect his play. I'm gonna go with Hooker by strikes round 2.
Yeah, I did read an article on Hooker recently, as you said, all the problem. He has his own gym that he owns, and they will not even allow him into his own gym to train by himself, which is...
No, Australia's out of control.
Is he even... He's in New Zealand, though. Isn't he in New Zealand?
I mean, not in Australia.
Both
New Zealand's
out of control, but but just not be able to train in your own personal gym even by himself, what a disadvantage going into this fight.
How can they even do that? That's insane. It's like your house.
Yeah, so I'm just not sure how his workouts are going to be, if he has his strength training up. That being said, Hooker always brings it. Doesn't always win, but he always brings it. I think Nasrat's still a little fresh. He was supposed to be the most touted prospect coming out. I took Drew Dober in that fight. Drew Dober smacked him around, put him out. I don't know how Nasrat was like minus 300 in that fight a little while ago. He looked good in his last fight, but he fought a super green guy in that fight. I'm taking Hooker. I agree with you. I think Hooker gets the job done. I think he gets it done in the beginning of the 3rd round, though. That's my pick. Then we got, I don't want to butcher this guy's name, but we got Shamil Abdurakhimov, who's ranked 7.
Not bad.
20-5, plus 170. He's going up against Dawkins. Chris Dawkins, ranked 10, 11-3, minus 200. And we know Dawkins brings it too, man. Tom, how do you see this one? Shamil, Dawkins, what do you think's going on?
All right, so you got the Russian Shamil Abdurakhimov against the American Chris Daukaus. Shamil, 40 years old, worth noting. He's 20-5, UFC 5-3. His last fight, another thing worth noting, was September 2019. So he hasn't fought in 2 years. I don't know what he's been doing, but he hasn't fought in the UFC in 2 years. Chris Daukaus on the other side, 11-3 overall. UFC is undefeated at 3-0. My pick, I'm going to say Daukaus round 1 by strikes. If not round 1, I think advantage goes to Shamil to win by strikes or decision.
40 years old, the advantage goes the longer it goes. Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I feel that way. But, yeah, I don't think we see out of round 1. Daukaus is a savage in there. I don't know if he ever breaks into the top 3, but he looks good, man. Was he an ex-cop, right? Philly cop? Is he still an active cop? I'm not sure.
I think he is. I thought he was.
I'm not sure.
I like him. I'm a fan.
Yeah, I got Daukaus. He's going to go in there. He's going to finish it. That guy, he's got power in those hands, and he does not like to beat around the bush. He's the opposite of Rozenstruk. He finishes dudes. Yeah, Rozenstruk has the power advantage, clearly, in most of his fights, but Daukaus, he doesn't hesitate. I like Daukaus.
If you want to get a nice matchup, but at the same time could be a recipe for a boring fight, is Derek Lewis versus Rozenstruk.
I don't want to.
Both counter punchers.
I don't want to watch that one. But guys, those are our picks. Check them out. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
I got one more set I want to cover real quick. I got Roxanne Modafferi against Talia Santos.
Okay.
I'm just going to give my pick on that because they're on the prelims, so I do want to cover that. And Roxanne Modafferi, the American, on one side, she's 25-19-0, UFC 4-5. All but one of those fights, though, were decisions. So 8 out of 9 of those were decisions. She's a decision master of sorts. But this is going to be her, let's see here. This is going to be her 45th fight. That's pretty crazy. She's very experienced. Now, Talia Santos on the other side is 17-1, overall UFC 2-1. Roxanne's 38 years old. Talia Santos is 28 years old. My pick, shouldn't be a big surprise, Roxanne by decision.
All right. I'm taking the opposite of that. I think Roxanne is just aging out. She is crafty in there. I can't deny that. I just think she is coming down that peak. She's on her way down, guys. I'm taking the opposite end on that one. I think we see a decision either way, though. I don't feel Roxanne gets finished. She's pretty tough. She is like an old school warrior. She was like a Marion Renault in there. I don't know how many more fights we see out of her, but I'll take Talia.
Nice.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you guys next time. Have a great one.